Okay, this is what the finished product looks like. I'm working on my 51-inch mower deck on my Cub Cadet. This is what it looks like. I'd already started cleaning it a little bit and decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and stop and do a YouTube video on it. And but anyway, as you can see on the left-hand side, I've already started cleaning that pretty much. Actually, had that one done. But anyway, the tools I use for doing this were just a regular scraper or putty knife, and kind of helped a lot. A weeder for a garden, that works really great. And then of course a broom to sweep out the loose debris as I'm moving along to make sure I can clean it better. So anyway, took me a while to get my camera adjusted here. I'm really new at doing YouTube stuff, so you just got to be kind of patient when I'm doing stuff for now. The next project I'm going to work on, I got a Black & Decker weed eater that doesn't work and is basically junk, but I'm going to go ahead and fix it. My grandson was supposed to be helping me on it, but he was up late last night, and he does eventually come down and help out. So anyway, I'll go ahead and we'll go ahead there and start cleaning on it once I get my camera positioned. Kind of a couple interesting things too that I'll show you throughout the video. And I'm going to upload, like, I think it's 4 or 5 little videos for this because I can't do any longer than 15 minutes. I was going to put it all together, and I did once, but YouTube wouldn't let me go for 15 minutes, so I had to come back and start from scratch and do it this way. So anyway, but the reason I got it down is it started throwing belts, and I couldn't figure out what the problem was. Went and bought a new belt, put a belt on, it continued throwing belts. Worked on it 2 different weekends trying to sort it out, made adjustments on the pulley tensioner spring, stuff like that. Here you can see I'm just sweeping out the areas where I've already cleaned a little bit, and I'm going to go back there with the putty knife and clean it even better. Of course, you know, I'm not a young buck, so I need to sit down when I do work. But turned out it was actually the tensioner pulleys themselves were bad. They didn't look bad, they look good, but what happens is they have to have diagonal movement. They have to be able to slide up and down, and they can't slide up and down on the post. What it does is it will basically throw your belt because it has no movement. I found that out over trial and error over a 2-week weekend period, and was able to finally get it to quit throwing belts. Another thing interesting I found when I had to do this is that I had a spindle that was loose. The spindle, if you notice my left hand right now, I'm doing scraping. There is a thing right there in the middle, they call it a spindle, and that's where your blades go. Well, there's 4 bolts that hold that in place, and I actually have another video where I'm going to show that to you where it was loose. But the spindle was actually, the bolts on it were loose, and that's one of the reasons it took me so long to sort out the problem, because when I tightened, I really believed it was a spindle. The fact that them bolts were loose, that maybe it was you know, moving around, and that's what's causing it to do that. But surprisingly, I tightened up the spindles on that one, and it was the middle spindle that was bad, actually. Out of the 3 spindles, it was the middle one that was loose. And I tightened it down, and I thought for sure when we put everything back together, had it all cleaned up, you know, we would stop throwing belts. But nope, I think we threw that belt, the brand new belt, probably 15 times before we went ahead and bought new belt pulleys. There's 2 of them on this model, on this Cub Cadet, and that's just like I said, you know, you would think that if you're throwing belts and that thing was that loose, that would have been your problem, but nope, it wasn't. I think the pulleys actually cost me, I think they were roughly like almost $60 for 2 brand new pulleys, and they were actually Cub Cadet pulleys. They weren't aftermarket pulleys. Even though I do believe that aftermarket pulley would work just perfectly fine for that. So anyway, that was one of the issues. It's actually, at first I didn't really want to drop the deck because I thought it'd be a real pain in the butt. But come to find out, dropping the deck is very simple. In fact, by the time we replaced the belt the 15th time, I think it took us a total of 5 minutes to drop the deck, put the belt on, put the deck back up, except for putting the new pulleys on. That's what I took. If you notice here, I got some ATF type transmission fluid. You can basically use any kind of oil you want. The deck was a little rusty in areas, so I decided I was going to go ahead and treat it to help with the rust. And so what I ended up doing is just using some transmission fluid I had laying around. Basically, you'll be surprised. I poured it, at first I just tried wiping it in. I just thought just wiping it in, getting a rag, wiping it down, and then putting it in would do fine. But man, that thing gobbled up the oil so quick. I actually got to the point I just started pouring it in, and then just wiping my rag around to spread it out everywhere to make sure I got good coverage. But yeah, like I said, you know, I basically put a half, and you'll see at the end on the last video of this series, you'll see that how dark it is because of the oil I used on it. Don't know exactly what happened there, but my lighting went bad on me. So anyway, well, that's the end of this video, and look forward to the next one.